So, Dragon, how's your list going with that movie goal you had for the year?
Look, I think that I could definitely get 365, actually 66 movies done this year, but I've decided for now to pull my goal back to one movie a week.
Okay.
Just because life just keeps getting in the way. I thought one movie, there's a whole bunch of movies that are like 90 minutes that I can just knock out every night. But life just keeps getting in the way. And yeah, so the good news is I added 4 new movies to my watched list just recently.
Oh, so you did watched some movies?
I did watch some movies. Let me just bring it up here just so I can make sure I get them all right. I have added... Well, actually, it technically might be 5. I can't remember if I had mentioned this last time, but Ricky Stenicki, I can't remember if we spoke about that.
We mentioned it.
We did? Okay, cool. Well,
yeah.
After that, I've watched Idle Hands, Blended, The Predator, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Okay. Awesome.
3 out of those 4 movies were okay. One of them was less than okay.
Ooh. Well, I've got to know. So did you say How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
I sure did.
Yeah, okay, I do vaguely remember that movie. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no, it's solid. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5.
Okay, yeah, cool. Classic Matthew McConaughey romantic comedy.
Absolutely. And Blended, I gave a 6. Adam Sandler goes to Africa, finds love with another family, like a woman who has her own kids. He's got kids of his own, and yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's just it's not top of the line Adam Sandler. It's not bad Adam Sandler. It's a bit better than good. It's Adam Sandler and why is her name eluding me? The chick from 50 First Dates and Wedding Singer, Drew Barrymore.
Oh, okay. So, okay, I actually haven't seen that one. So
yeah, no, it's solid. Yeah. Anytime him and Drew Barrymore get together, the movie ends up being solid.
Yeah.
She's a good actress, and they've got good chemistry and all that stuff. So
yeah, like I love 50 First Dates and The Wedding Singer.
50 First Dates, man. I go back and watch that every 6 months or so, I reckon.
It's so funny, eh?
Oh, just the it's not still age, it's pitching check. And in Blended, Tom makes a cameo.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, it's a very small cameo, and it's like you won't even get it unless you've seen 50 First Dates, but it's still cool.
All right, well, I might have to watch that again and then watch Blended, I'd say.
I'm talking about 10-second Tom.
Oh, yeah, okay, now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
okay, cool.
Like I said, if you haven't seen 50 First Dates, you won't get the reference because they don't. All that happens is he comes in, he's like trying to buy something from the pharmacy or something. He's like, "Hey, my name's Tom," and he's like, "Yep, cool. Hi, my name's Tom," and she's just getting annoyed with him. And then he walks off, and then he comes back, and after the scene happens, he's like, "Hey, my name's Tom."
Yeah, nice.
So there's no back reference. There's no hey, aren't you that dude that lost his memory or anything? It's just if you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yeah, fair. I like those though.
It rewards people who are invested in the world, even if the world isn't interconnected. But Adam Sandler's kind of got his own thing going on with his movies, and people like that. Yeah,
definitely. All right, and then okay, so which one of those movies that you watched was the lesser, less than average?
It pains me to say it, but The Predator was not a good movie at all.
Okay.
It had some okay action parts.
Yeah.
And a semblance of an okay plot, but other than that, it was just poor. Some might say piss poor.
Is it Madam Web poor, or is it just not the greatest?
It's not Madam Web poor.
Okay.
I've given it a 3 out of 10 on my little tracking list thing,
Okay.
until I can figure out how to use Nick Cage effectively as a rating system.
Yeah, we need to do that.
But like, for example, there's a scene where the Predator's escaping this military compound. He's in the back of a military truck killing the military guys. I think I can say military a few more times if I really try. And he's killed them, and the truck driver's like, hey, what's going on back there? Everything all good? And then the Predator picks up like a severed arm and puts like it through the window with a thumbs up on it. And it's just like, and there's just a whole bunch of like jokes and shit like that through the movie.
Is it just like pretty cheesy and lame, or?
It's like yes, it is, but then when it isn't, it's actually pretty okay.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the annoying thing, because like some of the action and stuff was like not too bad. There's some cool concepts. Like one of the main things is that the main adult character has like defeated a predator years ago, and he's been using like the predator's like gauntlet and like using like his weaponry and stuff. So like there's some cool concepts. But then like it turns out that the predator that they defeated years ago is being hunted by like another predator, like a bigger predator. And then that bigger predator hunts, the team as per usual, the team of guys. In this aspect, they're like prison convicts or military prison convicts or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And they're chasing him, and like he's got his son with him and stuff. And it turns out that the reason he was chasing them was not for them; it was because the son has autism, and he's seen to be the strongest out of the pack, because they say at some point in the movie that autism is the next stage in human evolution. Therefore, he's the strongest of the pack. And like it could have been done well, but like it just wasn't.
Okay.
Like they could have done like a thing where the kid puts on the predator thing, because that's partly what happens. Because he's autistic, he understands the predator language and is able to operate it.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't really go anywhere. Like it could be like the kid actually fighting against the predator somehow.
Yeah, or like using that technology or something.
But yeah, it all dies in the ass pretty quickly, and the few scenes and stuff that are good just aren't. Like, I can barely remember what half the characters did in that movie, and I only watched it like yesterday or the day before.
Your brain's already like, I don't want to remember this.
I remember so much more about how to lose a guy in 10 days than I do the Predator.
Oh, that's funny. And
that was a rewatch too, as in like rewatch from like years and years ago. The Predator was a brand new movie for me. And like, so why that's important is because while I was watching it, I was basically playing Rocket League the whole time. So like even though I was watching it, I didn't need to pay too much attention. It was kind of like I could hear it and I could remember it, and that's all I needed from it. Where the Predator actually had to sit there and watch it and pay attention, and I can't remember half of it.
Sounds like it's come a long way from the first movie, and not in a good way.
Yeah. See, like obviously I like the original Predator. Who doesn't? That likes action, sci-fi, horror.
Yeah, I liked the first one too. It was good.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
and I love Predator 2, even though it has its detractors. Predators, the one where they're on the other planet. I really like that one.
I think I've only seen a small bit of that one, and it seemed okay from what I remember.
I don't think it gets enough credit as it deserves. Like yeah, the plot's a little bit like, but the movie itself as a whole is like pretty solid. Like, okay. I'd have to watch it again, but I'd probably give it, like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Like, it's like good action, decent like little scare pieces and stuff, and it's as close as you can get to the original movie as possible, because you can't kind of recreate the magic of that original movie. It was like a whole bunch of like shit situations piled onto each other for them to make a good movie, and it just worked.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, yeah, that sounds pretty disappointing, but I guess now that they're not all going to be great, I guess.
But they should be. The Predator is such an iconic character. And I saw Alien Romulus when it came out, and that was solid.
Yeah.
I was like, surely the Predator is going to be at least like a 5. Like, surely it's at least okay.
Yeah.
No, it was not.
I haven't seen it, but there is another Predator movie where it's like, it's based in like a whole another era when there's like, I don't think they're Aztecs, but
you're talking about Prey. That movie is great.
Yeah, I've heard that's really good, but I haven't actually seen that one yet either.
There's 2 versions of it too. So it's set in like, I know, I guess the late 1800s or late 1700s, whenever America was coming in and like fighting off the Indians and stuff, and the Dutch traders were coming in, and like, I don't think it's quite Civil War. I think it's either a bit before or a bit after.
Okay.
And there's 2 versions of it. One in just English, and one in I think it's in Apache.
That's cool.
It's in one of the Native American language dialects. I can't remember which one now. But yeah, I want to watch it in the Native American language, because I think it'd be really cool, especially because like the scene with the Dutch people, like I'm sure there'll be subtitles for the Native Americans, but when they see the Dutch people, there's no subtitles, so you just got to guess what's going on based on context. And if they do that for the Native American speaking as well, I think that'd be really cool, especially once you've seen the movie and know the plot. You can kind of watch it and just kind of see the fear / the how they figure out how to get over things and stuff without actually knowing what's going on.
That sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Plus the Predator kills a bear in that, so I really want to watch that scene again.
It's just like, it's definitely not Predator, but just talking about that sort of era reminds me of was it Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I haven't actually watched The Revenant.
Oh man, but that's pretty epic.
Definitely the same sort of era.
Yeah, okay. You should definitely watch that. That was a really good movie.
Yeah, I will get around to it. It's just one of those movies where the more I think about it, the more I'm like,
yeah, like, I guess you could think of it's going to be like boring or something, but it's really not. There is like this epic bear attack scene.
I know about that. They end up killing it or something, or later on he kills it and he like hides in the bear's belly or something to keep warm.
Something along those lines. Fuck, now I'm going to have to watch it again.
Yeah, I know the thing. The whole movie is basically about like his friends leave him for death in a bear attack, and then he does the same thing to them or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty much, so it's Leonardo DiCaprio's character and his son, who's like half Indian, and then they pretty much get left behind once he's been attacked. And of course the people that leave him behind, one of them is the antagonist, and it's just an awful person. So pretty much, he gets a chance to have the tables turned, and like there's Indians and it's either Dutch or French.
I'd say it's the Dutch from that era, but I'd have to watch the movie to know for sure.
So there's other subplots happening as well with that. So it's just it's really good, worth the watch. Yeah,
no, I will watch it. It's I don't know why. It's just one of those movies where I just keep looking at it and going, oh. I don't know why, because by all accounts it's a great movie, but
I get that though too sometimes, and it just makes you not want to watch things. But when you if you do finally make yourself watch it, you're like, why was I not wanting to watch this?
Yeah, look, I know it. I've done it with heaps of bands too. But
yeah, true. I do that too. And then I'm like, man, I've been missing out. For now, fine. Don't watch it. See if I care.
Well, I'm trying to build myself back up to watch all the John Wick movies. I've only seen the first one so far.
Yeah, they're good too.
And apparently there's a series, and then there's that new movie coming out as well.
For John Wick?
Technically not John Wick, but like,
in like
so,
the same universe kind of thing.
Yeah, it's called like The Ballerina or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And John Wick's in it, but I don't know if it's like a cameo or what, or like he mentors the chick or something. I don't know, but
yeah. So
and then
she's in one of the John Wick movies. She is like, if I was going to be gay, it would be for her.
It's
Anna de
Armas.
Yeah. She is, oh my god, she's just amazing. I have a bit of a girl crush on her.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. And there's also the series The Continental, which I haven't seen either, but it's meant to be pretty solid too.
See, that's a show I've seen on like Netflix or whatever it's on, or Amazon, and I'm like, keep going past it. I'm like, nah, but I bet it's really good.
Yeah, it's probably amazing. I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
But again, I hadn't even seen the original John Wick movie until this year.
Yeah, so, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's like, it's so good, but I'm like, it's not for me.
Oh, so you didn't actually like the first one?
No. Like, I watched it, but before I watched it, I was like, this doesn't seem like it's up my alley.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as I watched it, I was like, why did I not watch this movie?
You're in for a treat as you watch the others too. They're all good.
Yeah, I hope they get crazier and crazier.
I don't think you'll be disappointed, honestly.
There's a similar movie that I watched like late last year as well called Nobody. It's basically the same.
Yes.
It's basically the same premise, except it's Better Call Saul guy.
Yep.
And
It's funny because his family's like, oh, you're so lame. You don't stand up for yourself or do anything. And then he's like, some secret ex fucking spy or whatever he is. And
retired like CIA assassin or something.
Yeah.
And his dad, oh my god, I love his dad in that movie.
Oh, who was the actor again? It was someone cool.
It was Christopher Lloyd.
That's it. Yeah.
It was Doc Brown.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, no, I enjoyed that one too.
The scene where he kills the dude who's sent to kill him by like using his own shotgun against him or something. I can't remember. He kills him with a shotgun, and then the orderly dude, because he lives in like a retirement home, the orderly comes in and is like, hey, turn your TV down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they owned that shit. That was a good movie.
There's a second one coming out this year too, so really looking forward to that.
Hell yeah. I was pretty excited too, because you were saying that you've actually started watching Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I did. I watched pretty much the entire first season over the course of 2 days.
I pretty much did the same thing, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just started the second. I think I watched like the first episode of the second season, but then Amber had to go home, so I promised I wouldn't watch it till she came back.
I hate having to do that, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that I can finish it before like the third episode comes out for season 3.
Okay, so you want to catch up pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. Like my daughters love it, like we love it, and they've watched the new episodes, but they're like, I've told them they spoil it for me. They're getting kicked out of the house.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
My sister once spoiled the last Harry Potter book for me. No, not the last one. The one where Dumbledore dies.
Oh man, I got that spoilt for me too. I was in high school still when that book came out, and it was someone in my grade fucking like spoilt it for me, and I am surprised I didn't just beat them up there and then, because I was like, what the fuck, man? How could you?
The thing is, with my sister, she was doing it on purpose. Because she would have only been 16-ish at the time it came out, but like, she's starting to spoil it. I'm like, stop talking about it. And she just kept going and like talking over me to tell me like the things, and I was just really pissed off with her.
Yeah, that's not cool. I think Hedwig dying was spoilt for me as well.
Yeah, that's not great either, but
Yeah.
little less impactful, but as in terms of spoilers, but still, you don't want
Yeah.
anything spoiled when you're really into something.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Especially like when it's a character like Dumbledore that, you just really love and don't want anything bad to happen to.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Thankfully, by the time the next book came out, I didn't
Mm.
live with like her or my sister anymore. So my at home with my sister anymore. I lived on my
Ah,
own, so
good.
I just like turned off all social media stuff, blocked her number, read the book. Hopefully, there was something important while I was reading it.
Just went to like some isolated island for like a few months while you read it.
I wish I could have. If, I
That'd
was
be
working
nice.
full time. I was working like 60 hours a week back then.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
So I was just getting a couple of hours in a night or something before, and then the weekends, but still. Oh
Yeah,
god.
okay. Yeah, far out. Yeah, that's a long week. 60 hours.
Yeah, plus I had football training, playing football, band practice.
Oh
How I
my
had time for
god.
anything, I don't know.
I would not have the energy for all of that. Like, especially these days.
Oh, so that's why I feel so bad about how unfit I am now, because I used to be so like. I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to get tired and stuff still, and like sleep and blah blah blah. But like, I still have the energy to do everything. Now it's like I go outside, walk down the stairs, come back up, and I'm like, oh, I need to sleep.
I need to lay down.
I mean, I do have big stairs, but still.
Your stairs scare me a little too. Like,
Yeah, they're not in the greatest condition, but I don't think
no.
they'll get fixed anytime soon.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we'll
All
see
right.
what happens there.
Yeah. See if one of us goes through them one day.
I get scared about leaning on the railing, that's for sure.
See, I haven't done that. And I won't do that by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I'd recommend not doing that.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about you, but I reckon it's about time that we get stuck into the main event for this episode.
Yeah, we should probably roll that intro, hey?
Hells yeah. When we come back, we will be talking about what movie is it again, Potato?
So it is called The Substance.
The Substance. Fantastic. Love your work. Let's get into it.
Almost a jibble sandwich.
Okay, so we have watched The Substance, and I feel like we're going to have a fair bit to talk about for this one.
I can agree that it was quite the journey of a movie.
Definitely.
Before we talk about it, I'll just straight up say that every time I think about it, I'm like, it's a 6. No, it's an 8. No, it's a 6. No, so I've decided to give it a 7 out of 10 because there's just so many good things about it, but then there's a few things that like bring it right down for a moment.
Okay.
So I'm like, so I just settled on a 7 because like it's potentially really great, but it's also potentially bad.
Okay. Oh, it'll be interesting to sort of delve into like your reasoning behind that and see what you think. I would go for like a 7 or an 8 for this one. I
wasn't
really
I wasn't sure how you'd go with it either because it is more on the body horror side, and I know that you don't particularly like the gore and stuff. And I know it's not super gory, but it still has elements that can make a lot of people squeamish that if you don't really like that kind of stuff.
Fair. Yeah, look, there were a couple of moments where I was sort of like, oh, okay. But I didn't have to look away or I didn't feel squeamish or anything. So I guess probably the end when the third version of Elizabeth comes out. That's probably the craziest, like,
it's definitely
bit.
definitely the craziest part.
Yeah.
And in some aspects the funniest part as well.
Oh.
She puts like a cardboard cutout of her face, like of her old face on herself and stuff, and it's great. A lot of like similes to the Hollywood industry and stuff, but definitely definitely the most how do you put it? It's like you can't. It's not just crazy. It's like the most like just full on part, and not in a bad way, but not in a good way either.
Yeah, I guess for me, like the first 3/4 of the movie is it's got some strong messaging there, and I didn't really pick up that it could be more of a like a horror parody either. But yeah, that end scene where the third Elizabeth comes out and gets ready and then goes to the show, and then what happens there, I was just like, this is almost a completely different movie in a way. It was very, very different, the ending to the rest of it, but it still had some of that messaging there though as well, I guess.
Yeah, the messaging was consistent throughout, but and this is where it falls down for me a little bit, is sometimes it's too much messaging going on at once. Like, like when we were watching it, like Amber was talking about it from like a woman's point of view, and like I definitely saw that, but then as I was watching it, I was just thinking about it from any actor's point of view, where like the Hollywood machine uses you up as much as it can until there's nothing left, and all that kind of stuff. And part of the problem, I think, is that because there were so many messages at once, it was very easy to take away a different message depending on your perspective that you're watching it. And when I say different message, I don't mean like completely different messages. I just mean that like, there was obviously like, older people searching for beauty. That was one of the big main messages, because she uses the substance to get her youth back and get her job back and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then there was the being used by Hollywood until there's nothing left, which was kind of emblemized by the final scene, because like, she literally like dissolves into a puddle.
Yeah.
And I didn't write any notes because we originally intended to record it like not long after I had watched it.
Okay.
So I'm working off memory now.
Yeah, that's okay.
But like I said, like the fact that Amber was watching it and was taking it mostly as like oh, this is what women have to face in society thing. But then I was looking at it and going like, oh, this is the entertainment industry in general, and actors and musicians and anyone who's in entertainment getting used up. Like it's, I guess it's good in a way, because a good movie, you can take your own message from it, but also because it was kind of a specific message, there was too much going on for it to be one consistent message throughout. But it was consistent in its tone and what it was talking about, but the overall message kind of like I remember at one point I was like, oh, I thought it was about this, then it was about this, and I was like, oh wait, no, it's actually about this. Then I was like, oh wait, no, it's actually about this. And then I eventually realized it was like, oh, actually, it's about all of this.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and like both from what you and Amber are saying, like I agree with both of those views, to be honest. I think initially I took it more the way you did as well, where it's more about, Hollywood pretty much taking what they want and then spitting you out kind of thing, and how shallow and fleeting that life is. But then also, you go into the objectification of women, and that's just another kettle of fish entirely as well.
100%. And
yeah.
And it sounds bad that I'm saying that this draws it down, but I feel like if they had just focused a little bit more on one of the messages, it would have been a more solid, consistent story. Where, like you said, you get to the last part of the movie and it's almost a completely different movie, and that can work. And I'm definitely not saying that it doesn't work, because, like I said, I keep going from like, oh, this movie was fantastic to like, yeah, it was just okay.
Yeah, okay.
There's just something about the way, like in the way the tone of the message is, the way they portray all the different messages, that just keeps throwing me back and forth on it.
Yeah.
Should the movie win some Oscars and stuff? Probably. But it's just really hard for me to sit here and go, hey, this is a fantastic movie without any caveats,
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, for sure.
There was some fantastic like special effects.
Yeah.
This like the way that they filmed the older version scenes in more muted tones and stuff, and the younger version scenes with like really bright pastels and things like that. Like it was like there's so many fantastic elements for it from it as a whole. But then, like I'm sitting here now going like, why was I thinking that there was bad parts? And I'm trying to think of it, and it's like individually, I can't think of anything bad, but as a whole, when I think back to it as a whole, I'm like, I don't feel like going to watch it again anytime soon. Like I might, just to refresh my memory and reevaluate how I think about it. But in terms of like, oh man, I would go see that movie like 6 times or something. Like it's not one of those movies.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, I'm glad I've watched it, but it's probably not something I'll be going back to anytime soon. But yeah, I think really, like, with the few different messages coming through, I don't think that's brought it down for me.
What was your take on the movie as a whole? Like, we've kind of already touched on it, but have you got a bit more of a more concise thing? Like, I know I've talked about it a bit, but because it's not super fresh in my memory, I'm really struggling to like emphasize the messages properly.
Okay. So yeah, I think it is both about the Hollywood life, and what that is like for people living in it, and then also how women are seen and treated as well. So you've got a woman that gets to 50 and is fired because she's too old for the job that she's doing. They want someone young and fresh and hot and ready to go kind of thing. So, and it's just, it's kind of like that meat market where it's just in and out. They don't give a damn about the people they're using for that sort of stuff. And then also on top of that, like, they want these young, fresh women to be in lining up everyone's screens because of the objectification of women, where they are seen as sexual objects, and that's what men want.
Yeah. Definitely agree. And as we're talking about it, I just remembered another sort of message of it where it's like the older Hollywood people having to give way to the newer Hollywood people, and sort of like not really having a choice in that, because it's like, once, and it's definitely worse for women 100%, but like as you get to a certain age, all the really good roles stop coming to you and making way for the new batch. And then it's the older person doing anything they can to hold on to any semblance of fame they can. Hence why when she gets given the opportunity to go back, and get rid of the other one for good, she eventually doesn't do it, even though it's basically turning her into a monster at that point.
Yeah, and like she would have known that, at that point, that it's eventually going to kill her because of what it's doing to her.
Exactly, and I just remembered another message, which is like, you turn into a monster to make it in the industry. Like, the more you do what they ask of you, and whatever you need to do to become famous, the more of a monster you become.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that makes.
Yeah, and this is what to me sort of brings it brought it down a little bit, just because if they had focused on the one part and had the other parts as like sort of sub messages, it would have worked better in my opinion. But they kind of focused on all of those elements all at once, and it was just, yeah, to me it was just, it was almost like the movie didn't even need to have much talking. You know what I mean? Like they could have just
True.
like, and I guess the younger Sue didn't have a lot of talking for ages, but the young Sue, sorry, Elizabeth is the old one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she doesn't. Not a lot of lines for her, at least at the start when she's on the scene.
Yeah. And there was another message that I just thought I remembered then as well, because like the younger one does a lot of stupid shit, which causes, damage to herself and her reputation and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the more she mistreats the thing, the more it affects the older one as well. So it's like the young people are coming up in Hollywood and making things harder for everyone else, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, really at the end of the day, like not doing a service for herself either, because she's, she can't be who she is without, Elizabeth as well.
Yeah, that's it. I can't even remember now. Is it the original Elizabeth that's at the end of the movie? I literally can't remember.
No. So pretty much Sue. So Elizabeth brings back Sue.
I
instead
remember
of
that.
killing her, and then
Sue keeps her locked up for ages and keeps like siphoning her shit to
So that was beforehand. So yeah,
okay.
Sue doesn't do like the 7-day thing like she's supposed to, and spends all this time without swapping, and then eventually she gets to a point where she can't take any more fluid out of Elizabeth to inject herself.
That's right. She needs to
so
like one cycle of 7 days will bring the fluid back, basically.
Yeah, so it gets to a point where she has to swap. And then, so when Elizabeth comes back, she's like this hideous, witchy looking thing.
Yeah.
And she's devastated. So she ends up calling the people, and they're like, yep, we can send you the stuff to terminate her. So she gets that, starts injecting it, and then decides against it, and then instead swaps again. And so, but this time they're both
that's right, they're both
still
alive.
present. Yeah.
And then Sue sees the thing where she was going to get it,
and just
and then fucks her up and then
shit. Yeah, so she ends up killing Elizabeth.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then she uses the substance on herself to get a new younger Sue or whatever, but then it turns out her teeth start falling out and shit.
Yeah, and loses her ear and stuff. I think she's finally realised that killing Elizabeth has actually killed her too. So yeah. And then she last ditch effort tries to use the activator on her to create another version, and that's what you get at the end.
Oh my god, that was apparently in that scene when she's running around the hallway with all the blood squirting out, apparently the director was actually the one operating like the hose of blood.
That's amazing. It was funny because Sean came out like as that scene had started, and she's pouring out blood across the crowd and everything, and he came out and was just like, what the fuck are you watching?
It's definitely a scene to like rock up to in a movie and like not without context and just be like, what is this?
Yeah,
what is going on right here?
Oh man. And just like her getting into that dress, putting the earrings on, and putting that paper face of Elizabeth over and stuff. I was just like, oh god.
Yeah, so again, doing anything she can to cling to her youth and her beauty and stuff, even though she's now the monster, and she's, she's done it. And then, she goes in front of the crowd, and people literally start screaming and shit because she's so ugly and stuff. And it's like,
calling her a freak, and
she's literally done everything that Hollywood's asked of her, and like now they're, basically rejecting her, just like what happens, when when women get older in Hollywood and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It sucks too because it shows how lonely that life can be. Like growing up with, like, I guess being in that lifestyle. It doesn't seem in the movie that she's got any sort of real relationships or companionship with anyone. Like she's by herself, and she's got nothing to show for it.
Absolutely, and that
Yeah.
scene where she goes to go on a date with her old friend from school or whatever, but then
that made me so sad.
Does she cancel?
No,
she ends up staying in, just like eating chicken and shit. That's right.
Yeah, so she ends up not. Yeah, she ghosts him pretty much. Doesn't turn up to the date. Doesn't message him, and it's all because Sue goes over like by day, and it makes her finger all weird.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then she has that scene in the mirror where she's, you first see her, she's all dressed up, ready to go out, and she's looking good. And then she starts second guessing herself constantly. And then she gets to a point where she's just, losing it a bit and like smearing the makeup all over her face and stuff, and just sort of gets really defeated.
Yeah. Man. Now, and I'm just remembering now as well, like when Sue wakes up one time and there's like all the like chicken and food and stuff everywhere.
Yeah. I didn't really understand what that might be referencing when she's doing all that cooking. And yeah, there's just food everywhere. She's got all like the bits of newspaper over the window so you can't see that sign of Sue.
Yeah, I'm sure at the time I understood the metaphor, but thinking of it right now, I can't, like, if there is a metaphor to even think of for that part of it.
True.
I can't think of anything right off the top of what it would be other than she's just trying to, like, live this lonely, sheltered life, pretend the other one doesn't exist, and the food thing, I think, is just maybe trying to find something that she can sort of enjoy because she doesn't go out or anything anymore. Like,
yeah, that's true.
But I'm sure there's more to it than that. But yeah, can't think of it. Interestingly enough, I'm looking at some trivia in front of me, and apparently the movie got an 11-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh wow, 11 minutes. That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if I think it's deserving of 11 minutes, but that's still pretty impressive.
That is impressive. I don't think I would ever feel like clapping at something for 11 minutes, but, if they thought it was that good, then awesome.
Yeah, I do often wonder, the Cannes Film Festival might be a little bit of like a circle jerk for people sometimes, but...
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling too.
But, it's still a pretty decent indicator of if something's maybe not that it's good, but at least if it's like breaking some kind of boundary or telling a good message or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because a lot of movies that don't do well at Cannes are either just terrible or are like more mainstream movies.
Yeah, okay. They do like more of the sort of out there or niche kind of stuff, don't they?
100%. And this movie was directed by a French woman, and it actually was filmed all in Paris. Oh, sorry, not in Paris, not all in Paris. It was a studio in Paris and locations on the French Riviera, but like it was shot entirely in France.
That's cool.
When you see LA outside the window, it's all like 3D or CGI or blue screen, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to, like with Australia, it's nice to see America seeing that, like, you don't have to just be filming in the same 3 or 4 cities in America for it to be a good movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true. I remember, I haven't noticed it as much lately, but definitely like towards the end of like, like major COVID stuff with everyone doing lockdowns and everything, like movies were starting to come back on sort of on Netflix and stuff. And I was seeing like, Aussie landscapes and, gum trees and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's totally shot here.
Yeah,
It's cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more movies than you think that have been shot in Australia before COVID, but after COVID, it's definitely been like even bigger because a lot of productions had to come here. They realized, hey, actually, Australia's got a lot of good places to film shit in.
Yeah.
And there was a movie that I saw just recently. I can't remember if it's a recent movie or if I saw it recently, but it was all filmed in Melbourne.
Nice.
Like, it might have even been like John Wick or something like that. But
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it may have been the last one. Was shot here in Australia somewhere.
yeah, whatever it was, I just remember being like, because like it doesn't look like it's in Australia at all. Maybe a little bit if you know the areas and stuff, but yeah, it doesn't look like it in general.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, like right at the end of the movie, because it just happened to let the credits go to the end. It was like, Victorian film or something. Thank you to them or something. I was like, what? And I looked it up. I was like, yeah, it was shot all in Melbourne.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was one I remember mainly was Love and Monsters, and just they're sort of going through the bush and stuff like that, and you could totally tell they were in Australia shooting when they did that movie.
Yeah, Love and Monsters was a great movie too. Like,
yeah, I really liked it.
Okay, I wouldn't say great, but really good. And I don't think I realized, but now that you say it, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Australian outback.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, have we got anything else to add for the substance, or do you think we've sort of covered everything?
I mean, like, there's so much you could talk about it. I think, like,
yeah,
you could break it down scene by scene. You could, we could go over every single theme of the movie and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, like, for a horror movie, it wasn't very horror, but there was definitely aspects to it, and I think the horror would come to you more if you're someone who sort of lives in that reality of being objectified and stuff, or living or working in an entertainment industry where you're just getting used and until there's nothing left of you, kind of thing.
Fair.
Like, I've seen aspects of that through being in bands and wrestling and stuff like that. But definitely not to the point that this movie has portrayed. So my brain keeps saying idolized, but that's not the right word. I identified with a lot of the stuff, but not to the level that I would dare say that a lot of women would identify with it on. So, like, I can imagine being a woman or a femme, and especially one working in one of those kind of industries, sort of being icked out and grossed out and all that kind of stuff even more, because they would just feel it like more than I ever could, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because they've actually experienced that.
Yeah, exactly. And like, a lot of people experience that kind of stuff, but it's definitely much worse for women in the industry, in entertainment industries and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd definitely be interesting to hear from someone who is in or around the industry and has seen the movie and get their take on it.
Yeah, that's so true. That would be very interesting.
Makes me wish I kept doing the extra work. I was an extra for the Rock TV show.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Young Rock. The scenes that I was in didn't end up getting filmed. They were cut or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still got paid for it, and it was really cool getting to talk to like the makeup people and stuff, and the assistant director and all that.
Yeah, nice.
Just learning a bit about their perspective and stuff, and yeah, it was real funny.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, there were some things that were said that I won't repeat in case someone happens to listen to it and they get in trouble, but it was very funny having them agree with something that I thought about what was happening that day.
I'll have to ask you, while we're not recording one day,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Isn't it weird sometimes that, like, we had so much to talk about with this, and yet it's probably one of our shortest episodes so far, yet sometimes we have things that we don't have too much to say about it, but then it just works its way into this bigger conversation. It's like we're too focused on the substance to be thinking about other things, which is why I was just about to say, like, is there anything else that's you've been watching, playing, that's caught your eye or anything like that this week?
Okay, so I've only watched one episode so far, but I'm definitely going to be going back to it this week. I think it's pronounced Primeval.
I believe that's how it's said. That's that like kind of oldish show where they go back in time or something like that, right?
Oh,
or is this a newer one?
It's new. It's on Netflix, and it's a Western series.
Oh, I know the exact one you're talking about because I saw that too, and I put it on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome so far. Because I grew up watching Western, so it's always going to be a genre that I love, I think.
I don't love Westerns, but some great movies are Westerns that I do love, if that makes sense. Like True Grit, especially the remake, that was amazing. What's it called? The Quick and the Dead.
Yeah.
There's Tombstone. I'm just trying to think of of the ones that I really like.
So when I say I love Westerns, I would probably have to say they're more of the spaghetti Western type.
Yeah, you're thinking more like The Man with No Name and the whatever Seven, the Magnificent Seven,
and like Lucky Luke and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's fair. See, that era of movies, I used to like things more like The Great Escape and stuff. More like thrillers and war movies and also just horror movies from that era.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, but most of those movies you just mentioned though, that are Westerns, really good as well. I enjoyed all of those.
Oh yeah, they're definitely more modern, like classics. Like I know that. I was just trying to, like I said, I was just trying to think of the ones that I remember that are good. Like True Grit is an old movie as well that's also good, but the remake is amazing in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I think I've only seen the remake. I don't think I've seen the original.
It's basically the same movie. It's just, it was made in the 60s or the 70s, whenever most of those movies came out.
Yeah.
So it's just got all the sort of like, and it's John Wayne and someone else, so it's like kind of like a typical John Wayne Western, but it's still really good.
Okay.
Just not, not the same quality as like, who is it? It's Matt Damon and who's the other? Who plays the other cowboy in that one?
Just trying to remember now. It's been a long time since I've watched it.
Is it the Thor guy? The guy that plays Thor?
I don't think so.
We're gonna have to look this up now.
Looks like Matt Damon, Ethan Hawke, if I can see that right. Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Josh Brolin.
So it does have him in it, but now that I remember, he doesn't play the main characters. Jeff Bridges is the main character. Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon are the two main cowboys. Josh Brolin plays, like, I think the main bad guy.
Oh, okay. See, when you said Thor, I just thought you were talking about Chris Hemsworth. So
I did say Thor, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was meaning to say Glove
Thanos?
Guy. Yeah, Thanos.
Glove Guy. Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, man, my brain is the worst. Like, for real. But yeah, like that. And it's done by the Coen brothers, I think, as well. Which about everything they do is fantastic. Like, they have like real good dialogue and stuff. And I also love the fact that a lot of the time you can't even understand what the hell Jeff Bridges is saying.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, and that was also the first movie, I believe, that the chick,
Haley
not,
Steinfeld.
yeah, Haley Steinfeld. That was her first movie. Like, I'm pretty sure it even has like an introducing Haley Steinfeld credit.
Oh,
Because,
okay.
and she's amazing in that movie as well. I reckon. I think she was only like 14 or 15 when it was made.
Yeah, well, she plays a 14-year-old girl in the movie, so it wouldn't surprise me if she was around that age.
Yeah, maybe like a touch older, but she definitely wasn't like. Yeah, she was younger than 20. I remember that because
Okay.
I remember looking up and going, "Who the hell is this chick?" And yeah, she was very young. But yeah, the original is good. It's a classic in its own right, but it's definitely way more down the spaghetti western sort of route. I would call the remake more of like a Tarantino western, like
Yeah, fair.
not as violent and stuff, but like the dialogue is more Tarantino like, and it. I wouldn't say it's more gory. I mean, like it definitely is by the standard of what came out in the time, but it's just more realistic like violence in terms of like when they get shot there's actual big blood
And
as
stuff
opposed
like
to it
that.
just being like little bits of smoke and like a little blood packet.
Yeah, or like just a hole in their shirt kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like as was done in the day, but like there's that does he get bitten by the rattlesnake at the end of the movie? I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, as I say, you're testing my memory now.
Everything about it I just love. Like Matt Damon bites his tongue off. I can't remember how that happens, but he bites his tongue off and he's just like bleeding out the mouth and trying to talk and shit. Like it's such a comedic part of the movie, but the way the movie is, it's not like it's not played for laughs.
Yeah.
And you can definitely laugh a little bit at it, but it's just played so seriously. But like in another movie, it would totally be played like for like just 100% laughs. The fact that he can't talk properly and you can't understand him.
Yeah, true. Yeah, like I feel like you could definitely do like a spaghetti western version of that movie in a way.
Well, I mean, it already exists, right?
Yeah, true.
I haven't seen the original one for ages because I watched it after that. After I watched, because I saw that the remake first, and I was like, I want to see what the original's like, and I watched it. And I don't really remember it a whole heap because, God, True Grit remake came out in like 2015 now, I believe. Maybe
Yeah,
even
okay.
maybe earlier, 2010, maybe.
Yeah, it said 2010 when I was looking at it before.
Yeah, so almost 15 years ago now, I watched the original one. I ain't remembering that. Not on a scene by scene basis, anyway.
Yeah, fair. One thing though that I've just remembered, it was only last year. I remember it because it was just before I started my new job. I actually learnt what spaghetti western meant. I didn't know this at all.
Now you're really trying to get me to draw into my memory now because I know why, but I'm gonna have to say I don't know why because I really don't remember it. And as soon as you say it, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's right. But yeah, no, refresh me, please, because I remember it's something kind of silly.
Yeah, well, it is, and it is quite fitting, really, considering that spaghetti westerns are silly. But yeah, so if you look at Wikipedia, it says spaghetti western is a broad subgenre of western films produced in Europe. And I think it's mainly Italy, and I think that's where the spaghetti western, like spaghetti, sort of
I dare
comes
say
into
so.
play there. Yeah.
Because one of the main spaghetti western directors is Sergio Leone, and he is an Italian director.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, I did not know that. Like I grew up watching those shows and movies and just always thought that it was like, was made in America. So yeah, my mind was totally blown last year when I found that out. So yeah, I couldn't believe it.
It's in essence, it's almost a racist term.
I know, yeah, it is. It kind of is, isn't it?
You might as well call it the Parmesan Westerns.
The Seb Westerns. No, I can't do it.
No, it's not that racist. If he ever listens to this episode,
I'm sure we'll know about it if he does.
Or he probably won't. We'll just have to. Like, why does the spaghetti that Seb brought to your birthday taste so funny? Our last thoughts before we die.
He would too.
He would.
He's petty like that.
He's vengeful and petty, 100%.
So yeah.
Yeah, nice. I was just gonna say that in like rewatching things and stuff, we're talking about that. I just rewatched Stranger Things season 1 to 4.
Oh, good show.
It was good, and it was still as good as I remembered. And even I remember thinking season 2 wasn't that great, but like rewatching it, it was good. Like, even the episode that is definitely like the worst episode of the whole show, the one where she meets the other chick with powers and stuff and becomes all goth for a bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. Like, it's still definitely the worst episode of the bunch, but like, it's not like a huge gap or anything, you know? It's not like, oh god, I'm going to skip this episode. It was just like, oh, this episode's not that great, but it's
okay.
It's still kind of, it fit better, and it was better than I remember being when the season first came out and I watched it.
See, I can remember the first season and the third season well. I'm actually trying to remember what actually happens in the second season.
The funny thing is that I've just watched it, and now I'm trying to be like, what does happen in the second season? The second season is the one with Samwise Gamgee in it, and
okay. And they end up.
There's all the stuff going on in the town, and they're hiding Eleven because, like, you know, everyone thinks she died at the end of the first season, and that's when she runs off and stuff, and then
when they're hiding in the shack a lot.
Correct.
Okay.
And then it turns out that they're trying to reopen, or they have reopened or something, the gate in the laboratory.
Okay, because she closes it at the end of season 1, doesn't she?
Well, at the end of season 1, from memory now, there's not really that talk of like a gate. It's just like,
wasn't it just an opening she accidentally created?
So all that stuff comes out later on in season 3 and 4. In the first season, you don't really know much about all that stuff. You just know that the Demigorgon's coming out, and then she kills the Demigorgon, and she disappears, and blah, blah, blah. You don't really know about the gates and stuff yet.
Okay.
Like, you do a little bit. But, like, when she kills the Demigorgon, it apparently closes up in the lab. Well, actually, they don't even show it. It's just assumed that it closed up.
Okay. And, it's the second season that have, like, the smaller Demigorgons, hey? The ones that run like dogs kind of thing?
Yes, that's how Samwise Gamgee dies. I forget his name in the show already. Like,
yeah.
Fred? Todd? Bob. That's
Bob.
it. It was Bob.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, poor Bob.
He's not a super memorable character for me, but he is a popular character. And then season 3 is the Mind Flayer season. The big spider thing that takes over the hunky Aussie dude.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
then the fourth. And was that the season that they had the Russians? Or was that
season 3 is the Russians, yeah.
Yeah, and then last season was them going to save what's his face?
I keep going to say his name's Hawkins, but that's the name of the town.
Oh man. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it.
Oh, my memory is so bad. I literally just finished watching like season 4 on the weekend. Hopper, that's
it. Yeah, that's right. They go on to rescue Hopper, and then in the meantime, everyone sort of gets split up, don't they?
Yeah, so like 3 of them are in Russia, half of them are in California, and the rest are in Hawkins, trying to like solve what's going on.
That's right. And then what's his face? Yeah, it's the first season where you really get to see. Oh my god, I'm having the biggest mind blank too. The main antagonist.
Well, season 4 is the first season that you even know Vecna is the main antagonist.
Vecna, that's it. Yeah, that's right.
Because until then, it's just been assumed that everything's like different. Everything's different things from the Upside Down.
Yeah.
But then by the end of season 4, you find out that like the Mind Flayer, the Demigorgon, all of that stuff, like Vecna wasn't the Demigorgon, but he was controlling it. You know, funnily enough, if you go back and rewatch the first episode of Stranger Things, the creature that Will sees before he disappears doesn't look like the Demigorgon at all. Like, you can't really make it out because obviously they hadn't finalized like a design for the character.
Okay.
But it's definitely not the Demigorgon that is you see. Like, it's most likely like a version of Vecna that that actually grabs Will in the first place or something like that. Because you just assume it's the Demigorgon because of everything that happens in the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's definitely not it. Like, maybe the Demigorgon's the thing that eventually grabs it. Maybe he just appears to Will to like get him to go the way he needs him to go to bring him into the Upside Down or something like that.
I'm gonna have to watch that first season again. Like, I remember it being so good and like scary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't find it scary, but that's because I'm a desensitized monster.
Like, it's not all scary. There's just scenes like that in the last season I thought were probably had the creepier, sort of more scary scenes than season 2 or 3.
Oh, you're probably right, but like, I'm also just saying that for me it's not scary, but just because like I watch so much scarier stuff. But like, it's still, the show is still MA15 plus, and there's actually like lots of blood and stuff, and like when the dogs are killing people, like they're, you know, squishing heads and blood's going everywhere. Like, it's not scary. It's just that to me, I'm like, it's almost like a kid's show to me. Like, you know, just like I said, I'm a desensitized monster, so it's just not scary to me like it should be.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Like, when I was rewatching season 4, some of the stuff that was in it, violence-wise, I was like, man, I don't remember it being this gory.
Yeah, okay.
But again, it's MA15 plus, or for any Americans listening, R-rated. So, you know, technically they can be swearing and doing heaps of things, like, you know, nudity, all that shabazz.
Yeah. Okay.
But they do keep it a fine line between sort of like, you know, Steven Spielberg family-friendly horror and like actual horror. Yeah,
true. Yeah, it's definitely not like that scary. It just has some scenes that sort of had me on edge, kind of thing. But yeah.
But I'm looking forward to season 3, like even more so now that I've rewatched it, because now it's sort of fresher in my head again. I'm like, that's right, it was really good. It's just, it's been like 3 years since the last season came out, so we've all kind of forgotten about it a little bit.
Yeah, I've been waiting. Like, there's been a few times where I've, you know, just sort of scrolling around Netflix and Stranger Things sort of comes through, and I'm like, oh man, when is that last season coming? Like, it's been ages.
Yeah, it has been. And the last time I think I checked or saw something about it, I think they just finished filming like late last year.
Okay.
Which means they'll just be doing all the special effects and stuff now. And every episode apparently is like almost the length of a movie. Like, oh shit. The final episode of Stranger Things season 4, if you remember, was 2 hours long.
Wow, I don't remember that, but yeah, okay.
And I think the second last episode was an hour and a half.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, like it's good because streaming has allowed shows to just like take as long as they need to tell the story. Like, because they don't have to have a certain time for a slot on TV or to make way for ads and all that kind of stuff. A good example of that is Ted Lasso. I think the first season and maybe even the second season is like pretty standard, like standardized episodes, but the last season definitely. The episode could be 25 minutes or it could have been 50 minutes. Like, it just keeps going up and down depending on what story has to be told that episode.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for that if it means it's improving the quality of the episode or, the story.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Nothing worse than watching a show where it's like they've had to cut the story short for that episode because of, it's gone past the 20 minutes or the 30 minutes or whatever. And you're just like, oh, especially back in the day when things used to actually get released weekly and you'd be like waiting for the next episode, just being like, fuck, why did it have to end there?
Yeah.
And it's not even in like a good like climactic, like, oh, I gotta see what happens next week, where it's like you stopped it in the middle of the action kind of way. Like
one show that so The Walking Dead, I just oh man.
I've been rewatching that with my daughter. We're up to season 5, I think, now.
So I really loved the first 4 seasons, and then after that, I think it, like every season is, maybe not the first season, but each season it just gets more and more dragged out, and it's like, don't do the 18 episodes every season then, and like have a split in between if you're needing to drag it out so much. Like, just have shorter seasons and tell a better story.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm rewatching Dexter as well, and it's so much better for that. Like it probably drags out a little bit here and there too throughout the entirety of the show, but nowhere near as bad as what people say The Walking Dead does. I've only ever seen up to like maybe the start of season 6 or something. Like, like Negan wasn't even a character in the show when I stopped watching it.
Okay. So I think I got up to, it was halfway through one of the seasons. It must have been 7 or 8. But yeah, Negan had already been around for a while, and it was like into the second season of Negan being like the main antagonist, and it's just like, just fucking kill him already. Like, I'm over it.
You can't kill him. He's too popular.
Well, I don't think he even died in the series, and I haven't even finished watching it, and I know that.
He doesn't. I know that for sure because there's now a show with him and Maggie where they're looking for Maggie's son or daughter in New York.
Yeah, that's how I know too, because I saw ads for it, and I'm like, oh my god, he's still alive. But yeah. And then seeing like some of the characters die throughout the whole Negan thing as well, I was like, it's starting to lose me. So
yeah, well, I'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm only up to like season 5 or something.
Yeah. It's probably something, if I had the time, I'd go back and try and finish, but not at the moment.
Yeah, I pretty much have it on while I'm like playing games and stuff. So like I'm not paying like super attention to it.
Yeah,
but,
which I feel like you probably, especially after season 5, you probably don't need to anyway. You'll know when there's a scene coming up that you need to focus on, and then you're good for a while. So
yeah. I mean, I'm not finding it as that bad so far, but again, it's only up to season 5. We'll see how I feel after, like once Negan comes into it, especially after the death scene, because for a lot of people, that's when it started actually getting bad. I'm going to rewatch Game of Thrones as well, mostly because I want to see if the last season's as bad as we remember it, or if it's just like one of those ones where it didn't live up to the expectations, so it was bad.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, Game of Thrones was funny. Like, I don't remember absolutely hating it, but at the same time, I was kind of like disappointed. And I think it's just because it didn't go the way everyone wanted it to, I would say. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't care how it went. I just think that the last season, it felt rushed and like, when you're rushing a story, like it's funny because the episodes went for longer, but it felt rushed, where the other seasons had like shorter episodes, but didn't feel rushed. So,
yeah, that's true.
To a degree, they should have just waited until he wrote the final book or whatever. But considering where we're at with that, I'm glad we didn't have to wait.
Well, yeah, and I think I saw something the other day. I don't know how true it was, but it was sort of saying that he's now saying that he might not even finish it, like, ever. So,
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He's getting on in age, and he might not actually know where he wants to go with the story 100%, and especially after all the backlash, like maybe where he wanted to go with the story is exactly where the show went, and with all the backlash, he's like, ugh.
Yeah, true. It would be pretty funny though if he just did it exactly the same as the show, and then everyone's buying the books like, fuck yeah, finally get it. And they're like, oh.
Honestly, I don't think the way the show went was bad. It was just that they rushed getting to the points that they needed to. So it like everyone says, like, oh, Daenerys wasn't crazy or whatever. But like, if you actually rewatch the show, like, she's crazy as far back as season 1. Like,
oh yeah, and I think it was even pointed out at one point too, because they're like, oh, she's such a nice character. Why would she be killing everyone in the town, like, at the end? But it's like, well, if you go back and listen to other episodes where she's like, we're going to burn everyone and do this and do that and just pretty much fuck shit up. Like, that's what she does. So
yeah. Plus, there's also, like, the curse, the Targaryens, how they all go mad when they get power and stuff. Like,
true.
They talk about that throughout, like, the whole show. The curse of the Mad King and blah, blah, blah. Like, and it's probably even more prevalent in the books. Like I haven't read the books.
Yeah.
I've got them. I haven't read them.
Yeah, I haven't read them yet either. But I guess too, she has a lot of loss as well towards the end there. Like, she loses people that are close to her as well.
100%. But I think the thing that sends her over the edge is Jon Snow.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, once he finds out that she's his auntie or whatever, and
yeah, and he's just like, nope.
Yeah, I think that's like the final straw on the mad queen's back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I don't blame you for going back and for another watch, actually.
I mean, up until season 8, like, people say it, like, lost a bit of traction in season 6, but I remember loving it up until season 8. And it was just season 8 again. Felt rushed. Like, I liked where the story was going, but it felt rushed, and like even having Arya Stark kill the Winter King or whatever the hell his name is in the show.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing wrong with it. It just came out of nowhere. Like, there was no like
there was no lead up or anything.
No sort of lead up that she was even potentially in the running to kill him, like, and that can be done in a good way, but from memory, she's literally like not a part of the thing at all, and then all of a sudden she just comes out of nowhere to kill him.
No, and that's the thing, like, I think a lot of the series, they're talking about Jon Snow being the one that, is going to be their savior with the Night King and stuff like that. But I think it's only that that episode when Arya kills him, it's like I think it's only mentioned once by the Red Witch. I can't remember her name. Was it Melisandre or something like that?
I'm pretty sure that's the name, yeah.
Yeah. She says something along the lines of, like, I see a lot of death caused by your hands, and eyes are brown, green, blue, and I think she mentions as the blue is like a bit of a precursor to her killing him, but at the same time, like, that's who's going to pick up on that context, really?
Yeah, it's not the fact that she kills him again. It's the fact that in the episode in which she kills him, like, you don't even know that she's anywhere near the fight at the time from memory. Like, she's there in the main battle, but you don't know she's anywhere near, like, the Night King. It's
yeah, because she was in, like, the castle, I think, for ages, and the Night King and that were, like, out in that garden area. From memory.
Something like that. Again, which is why I want to rewatch it to see if it's as bad as I remember, or if it's just, everyone had expectations of things, and they definitely didn't go that way. The fact that, Jon Snow ends up back on the wall, it's like,
yeah,
I guess it kind of makes sense. But again, because everything just feels so rushed to get to the end, like, it feels like there should have been a whole nother season.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. They could have
all the season should have been at least, because I think there was only like 6 episodes or something for the last season.
Yeah,
maybe 10 at most.
They definitely could have had at least more episodes in that season, or another entire season, just to really sort of finish everyone's arcs and cap everything off properly.
Yeah. The worst in my books though was Jamie Lannister going back to his sister.
Yeah, like what the fuck? He did so well with his story arc. You know, you think he's, finally doing the right thing and out to help everyone, not being a selfish prick, and then he goes back to her anyway.
I mean, he is doing all that stuff, but again, there's no preamble at all to him going back to his sister. Like all the stuff happens, and then the city's under attack, and he just goes, "I'm going to go save my sister and die with her," or something. Like, yeah, just, there was no scenes from memory where it was like, where he sees his sister and she's like trying to convince him to come back, and he's fighting with it or anything like that. It's just they go there.
I think he literally hooks up with what's her name?
Tall bitch.
Yeah. Hooks up with her and then literally leaves, because I think she tries to get him to stay and he's like, nope, I gotta go.
Brienne of Tarth.
Brienne, that's it. I love
that's exactly what happens, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's no preamble. There's no you don't see him battling with his conscience or anything. He just gets up one day and goes, "Oh, I'm going back to my sister and I'm going to go die with her."
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't really make any sense at all.
I think there might be a bit of him trying to convince her to be good or something that's kind of the reason he goes back. But
yeah.
I'll have to watch it again. I'll know for sure once I get to that bit again, but I have to watch it again to know for sure.
Yeah, fair. I think he does have that kind of conversation with her before he leaves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, yeah.
But again, he just goes, it's almost like he's like, fuck it, killed by dragons or killed under the castle.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
He deserved a bit better. His arc was really good, and then he just to me that was the worst part of season 8 was his death and the arc just being made pointless,
Another thing as well, I wanted to see, Cersei was always on Arya's list, and Arya didn't actually get the chance to kill her.
From memory, she doesn't actually get to kill a lot of people on her list.
Yeah, that's probably true.
She's it's the driving force behind her thing, her sort of character, but she doesn't kill the Hound, she doesn't kill Cersei. There's a couple of people that she doesn't kill. Half of the list I think she doesn't kill.
Yeah, okay.
But again, I'm gonna have to rewatch it to see if it feels good, if you know what I mean. Because maybe it's that kind of thing where it's she's motivated by revenge all this time, and then finally she finds a purpose higher than that, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. I did actually see a movie poster the other day of her in a spin-off show about going west, but I don't know if that was actually legit or if it was just one of those silly
like a fan
AI.
poster. Yeah,
fan poster or AI or something like that.
Yeah, well, I know there's meant to, whether it's still happening or not, I don't remember, but I know there's meant to be a Jon Snow series about his time on the wall and stuff after everything happens.
Yeah,
and obviously there's the House of Targaryen or whatever the hell the show's called.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched that yet, but apparently that's really good.
Yeah, I've heard good things as well. And there was meant to be another spin-off show, but that got cancelled, I know for sure. So I don't know if that's the one that was meant to be with Arya or not, but
possibly, yeah.
I just know that there was meant to be another spin-off show. Actually, the one I'm thinking of, I think it was meant to be about the battle when Robert Baratheon takes over, just kills the Mad King or whatever. I think that's what that show was meant to be about.
Okay, yeah.
It was meant to be set in that time, at least.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
And I'm pretty sure that's the one that got cancelled. And the Jon Snow one keeps being we're not sure or something like that, I think.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they should just. I guess it's just seeing if they can actually write enough about him living back at the watch, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also probably about like maybe House of Targaryen isn't as popular as they were hoping. You know what I mean? Like they're probably expecting that it'd be like as big as Game of Thrones, but then it's just not.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like even I guess like the House of Targaryen or whatever it's called. Like I haven't gone out of my way to try and watch that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's well, it's partly their own fault because it's locked behind binge, which a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, and exactly one of the reasons why I haven't watched it.
I've got it at the moment, but that's only because I'm sharing with a friend, and it's just mostly so I can watch The Last of Us, and there was another show that was only on binge that I really wanted to watch.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could remember it. The day I can remember anything first go, we'll probably, I don't know, have to throw a party or something.
I will probably be on the floor. Like, what was that?
Heart attack? Is this a stroke? I smell burning toast.
Well, I think that might be it for today. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm gonna have to. Like, I've really not been playing many games this year. Like, not saying that I haven't been gaming, but I haven't played many games. I've only really been playing Return to Moria, so I think we're really gonna have to get stuck into like a single player game or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Finish off something. So I've got something more to talk about with the games. Like, I can talk to you all day about Rocket League and Return to Moria.
Yeah,
I think that's all I've been playing. I've been playing a bit of Valorant as well.
Oh yeah.
Here and there.
Yeah, see, I think I've even been less than that. So when we've played Return to Moria together, which hasn't been a lot lately. I've played a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3 the other day. I'm still trying to get through Act 3.
Yeah, I should finish that game as well.
Yeah, well, make sure you've got some time to set aside.
Oh yeah, I know it's a big game, but I think once I've actually like completed the story of Return to Moria, I think my brain will be able to like let me play other games. It's just I'm really hooked on Return to Moria at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome though. It just shows, how good of a game it is if you're still playing it.
It's such a good but flawed game. Like, I keep coming across, like, for example, I don't know if this is a PlayStation only thing. I don't know if it happens on the PC, but if I load up my game like down in the deeps or something, it takes a while to like load everything up, and my game will actually slow down for a bit, for like a minute or two until everything's loaded in properly. But if I save up in like the top level, like the Forge of Na'vi or the Westgate or whatever, my game runs great the whole time because, like, I guess it loads things in the background, but because I'm down where it's gonna, like, it's like they haven't optimized the way it loads in, so it's like I spawn into where it's loading and it kind of fucks me up. And even going backwards between areas, like if I teleport to a certain area, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but when like an area is loading in, you'll see like a mesh like stopping you from going through like a certain door or something.
Yeah.
And like I can see that in the distance as I head towards it, but it seems to load just in time as I get to there.
Okay.
But if I load in certain areas, like down in the Mine of the Moria or whatever, for example, like one of my bases is in one of those little areas, when it's got the two dirt patches and it's got like that little tiny area that connects them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have a base in there, and when I load in, like the dirt and stuff is still there, and it won't let me go through until it's loaded up properly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right.
So like it's a great game, but it's definitely flawed. And like I said, I don't know if it's PlayStation that it happens to mostly, but it was there's been some things that have been a little bit frustrating, but not enough to be like, okay, I can't play this game anymore. It's just more just like, man, I wish this was a little bit better.
Yeah, that's fair. It'll be interesting to see as well now that they've got the dedicated servers how they'll run.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder
Mm.
if it'll do a Pal World, and when we load back in, we've got like our whole fucking base destroyed or something.
Yeah, or have like, thousands of stuff that, your pals have been making while you haven't been on the server.
I wonder if it's still technically working, or if because the server's not actually been up, it hasn't been doing anything. Because I know there's a setting I can change where when there's no one on the server, it won't do that.
Okay.
But
we mustn't have had that setting on at first, because I remember I came in one day and just like we had so much stuff, like insane.
And it's good, but it's also like, oh geez.
Yeah, like what else has happened? Well, we haven't been in here. But
yeah, we'll definitely check that out. I'll get back to Power World eventually, and I think the problem is at the moment is I've been hooked on games that are like, games like Moria and Power World that are like online games, or at least games that are better when you play with friends. And I haven't been playing like the single player games or anything like that as much lately.
Yeah, fair. We definitely haven't really started anything new.
Yeah, that will change on March 20th though, because Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out. So
Ooh.
I'll probably disappear
again
for another couple of weeks on that.
Okay, as long as we can record and you can talk about it, that's all right.
I think we should be able to. Maybe I'll record while I'm playing. You can just talk to me, and I'll just be like, "Yep,
Yeah, because that sounds so interesting.
Oh, I think it's the most interesting conversation we'll ever have had.
It will be for you.
Well, on that note, let's call it there, and I will figure. I mean, we'll have something to talk about for sure. Like Yellow Jacket Season 3 is out. The new Yakuza game comes out soon.
Nice.
I'll have definitely seen some new movies by then. Whether they're new or just new to me, we'll find out.
Keep adding to that list.
Oh man, I thought I was going to have an easier time, but
I thought you were going to nail it, honestly.
I mean, I did the math. I only have to watch 1.1 movies a day for the rest of the year to meet my target. So it's still possible. Like if I watch roughly a movie every second day, and then on the weekends, like watch like 4 or 5 movies at once, I should still be able to do it. But I'm not going to hold myself. I'm not going to hold myself to 366 movies, but I am definitely going to hold myself to 52 movies.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a lot more doable.
And again, 52 movies that I haven't seen before, or that I haven't seen for like, for so long that I barely remember what it's about. And I know that's a bit of a cheat with How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, because how can you ever forget Matthew McConaughey? But I definitely haven't seen it for some time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I might throw Ghosts of Girlfriends Past on that list as well.
Ah, yeah. I don't think I've actually seen that one.
Oh, I have.
I bet you have.
Matthew McConaughey was the man. Between that and Frailty and Reign of Fire, like, you couldn't go wrong. God damn.
Sounds like a bit of a man crush.
Not quite the man crush. My man crush was Brad Pitt back then.
Oh, yeah, he was smoking back then.
Also, he just did like lots of movies that I really liked.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a lot of good movies.
This is probably a retroactive Matthew McConaughey man crush, because I'm definitely not man crushing on his recent stuff, but I'm going back, or I'm thinking about the old stuff that I used to watch, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
All right.
And on that, let's finish up there, and we will be back to you next week with a new episode. All right.
Bye, guys.